So we have covered areas in terms of looking at climate crisis and how humans are playing a role in that wider planet piece. This second section is very quickly looking now as a business, what can we do both internally and then considering what we're doing in terms of our customer base and prospecting activity. Now, the super exciting part is if we are operating as logistics service providers and operating within that supply chain ecosystem, we have a sphere of influence. So, as a business, what are we doing internally as a business model and our ways of working within our office and where we're moving around? But then we look further afield. So we are managing or helping to manage supply chains. So that's our customers. How can we work with our customers to help them to do better environmentally? And then because we're part of looking at suppliers, some of them are within our control and are able to have conversations around shared values and sustainability strategy and looking to align. And obviously, others are outside of our control, but it's always worthy of ensuring that we're doing everything that we can within our procurement, within our buying process. And then we look at industry partners. So associations like BIFA that we're obviously members of, what are they doing and how can we help in supporting collaboration to increase and improve their voice when they're looking at policy, when they're looking at working with lots of different logistics service providers to continue to decarbonize supply chains. And then we look regulatory. So we look at government, we look at policy makers, and we recognize what we are trying to do to drive forward in terms of businesses. What do we need to improve the way that we work when considering environmental aspects moving forward? So global logistics industry, it's really important to recognize that we do actually play a role. We don't want to be part of the problem. We want to be part of the solution. So how do we do that in a proactive way? Transportation is the second largest emitter of carbon emissions. So in 2023, 8.24 billion metric tons was achieved through transportation, and 8% of that is equated to freight. So we have a role because we're helping to move freight to do it in the most efficient way, but also start a different conversation around sustainability and recognizing those carbon emissions moving forward. And the core topic that we know within our industry is decarbonisation of supply chains. So we know that that is part of what our customers potentially could be looking at. But we also, if we are a green partner of choice and we're looking at sustainability as a whole and going back to that environmental pillar, we also need to make sure as a business we're recognizing what our water streams are doing, what our waste streams are doing. So we're considering all those different areas so we can intentionally show that we are making a difference within our business model and helping our customers to make differences wherever possible as well. Now, legislation will come to make this mandatory. There's no legislation at the moment that is impacting us as a business that we need to report on, but we will need to do some carbon reporting moving forward. And we are looking at how to support our larger customers who will need to do carbon reporting moving forward. And it's a really important opportunity for us to take a leading role within the industry to find a voice and be a thought leader in optimizing our customers' supply chains by filling the knowledge gap and proactively educating them on ways to look at changes within their supply chain. So we would be viewed then as a green partner today for them. And it might not be that our customers are proactively asking for that information, but we can obviously in a proactive way feed it into their decision-making process. It might not be that our customers want that information today, but at least they'll know that it is readily available from us as global logistics providers. So whether it's Killick Martin or Atlantic Pacific, they know at a certain point in the future they can come to us rather than then go to a competitor. So that then starts to create that commercial opportunity for us in ensuring then that we're entwining sustainability-led initiatives and conversations as a service provider. So that's super exciting. So then we start to get into the narrative, and I'm not going to go into lots of jargon and lots of vocab within this training. We will touch on parts, and then hopefully for those of you that want to then start to increase your learning, you will go off and find more information and be able to feed that back into the business as well. So carbon reporting are the big conversations at the moment, and carbon reporting falls into 3 different areas: scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Now, scope 1 is about our business model. So it's a business. So what can we directly control? So scope 1 is around the sources owned by our company. So the emissions that are asset led. So whether that be a car that's diesel that we own as a business, not that we rent or that an employee uses that they own it. It's what we own as a business. So Killick Martin or Atlantic Pacific, or a gas boiler, any of those types of fuels that is owned. Scope 2 is electricity. So what are we buying from a third party in terms of electricity to power the electricity generated pieces of equipment across the business? So that is scope 1 and scope 2. Scope 3 is absolutely everything else. So everything else that we touch that has a carbon footprint. So it could be the computer that we bought last month. It could be the plastic bottles, hopefully not, that we're purchasing. It could be the travel. Someone has gone to a Bangladesh conference, and how have we traveled? What is the emissions of the hotel that we stayed at? There is a lot in scope 3, and it can be vast, and it's the biggest section of carbon emissions for any business, and it's very, very complicated and really tricky to manage. But as a starting point, get your head around scope 1 and scope 2 is businesses and what they control. Scope 3 is everything else. Our customers, when they come to Killick Martin or Atlantic Pacific, sales teams or account managers, and ask for data, they are asking for their scope 3 data emissions around transport and distribution, the stuff that we manage for them. And that's the differences. And that's what you need to be able to articulate in conversations. That's the only jargon that I'm going to give you today, because that's the trickiest area to get your head around. In terms of customer carbon reporting, it is a value add. It is an opportunity to have a better and different conversation than everything around freight. We are able to offer carbon reporting to all of our customers, so Atlantic Pacific and Killick Martin. Please speak to the rest of the team in terms of how you access that. It is credible. It uses the correct global data fed by Ecotransit IT. It is GLEC framework specific. It is compliant with the areas that it needs to be compliant. So 1483 compliancy. So all the current standards that it needs to. It allows you to have a better conversation with customers in terms of heat mapping their supply chain. It allows you to add value in terms of differences to maybe what your competitors are saying. So it's an opportunity to proactively help your customers, and it's an opportunity to have a different type of conversation with prospects. So carbon reporting moving forwards is key, and it's an opportunity for you to be using now. Now, when I talk about a business starting to transform, and this is what you're in, you are transitioning across the sustainability curve, we're looking at ways to adopt new ways of thinking, and we are changing decision-making process slowly but surely. In an ideal world, as a business, both for Atlantic Pacific and Killick Martin, we will become consciously committed to that stage 2. So we will consider environmental impact when we are making decisions of ways of working moving forward. So at the moment, we're at stage 1 as 2 businesses, and we are progressing to stage 2 when we have more consideration around being impact conscious. What are we doing at the moment? So in terms of internal focus, both Atlantic Pacific and Killick Martin are members of the BEFA Sustainable Logistics Policy Group, which means that we are feeding into policies on a wider conversation across the industry, as well as an individual businesses driving change. All of our salespeople have taken workshops now on sustainable logistics, so they're starting to recognise an opportunity and how to have those conversations proactively and independently with customers and prospects. We are hoping to seek out environmental champions across the business who will take part of this journey with us and be part of that passion and enthusiasm to drive change. If you are interested at the end of this workshop, please reach out to the senior leadership team and we'll see how we can progress that moving forward. We are, again, as 2 independent businesses, doing carbon reporting. So our scope 1, our scope 2, and scope 3 is currently being pulled on 2024 data, which will be our baseline. And moving forward, we'll do that annually to know where we need to do improvements. We are considering at the moment our procurement process to ensure that we are pulling the right supplier information and making choices based on sustainability as well as other areas. We are considering our energy. So how are we purchasing our electricity, and are we optimizing access to renewable energy? And we are looking at all of our scope 3 around travel to ensure that we are optimizing where possible that public transport, reducing miles where possible, and consideration around conversations internally within the business. Now, externally, I mentioned carbon reporting. That is there, that is accessible, and it's an opportunity to derive change with our customers and our prospects. The other area to be aware of, and more information will be released later this year in the next few months, is that we have registered to start the process of EcoVadis certification. That is a globally recognized certificate. It is an opportunity to consider the ways of working both environmentally and societally within the business. And we will receive a scoring later in the year, and we will continue to progress that scoring as we move through this journey with all of you. So in summary, in terms of recognising where we're at and where we're moving forward, there's lots of considerations within the environmental grids to think about when we look at our journey. And this, as I said, is ongoing. It's really exciting. It's really important, and it will continue. There's never an end game. It's important that all of us do play a role in terms of each of us individually have a part to play. If we're not proactively playing that part, we become part of the problem rather than the solution, and none of us want that to happen. As a business, we are moving forward at a speed that is realistic and timely. So we're not gathering pace too quickly and getting something wrong. And it's realistic with our industry. Our industry is so busy. We only have a certain amount of time to take on new projects. So all of it is being very considered as we move forward. And all of this will wrap up into opportunities to work with our customers who require that information, and we'll proactively look to partner with those sustainability-led companies first, and then move forward in terms of how we update the industry, how we keep you updated, and how we are considered as early adopters. All of it is super exciting. So I hope you found both parts interesting. I hope you have takeaways in terms of considering how you are leading that impact, and considering how you can maybe change some of the ways of working across your team as an individual, and maybe what you're doing at home as well. I very much look forward to meeting you all in the coming months as we make more changes. And you will have access to me in terms of if you have any questions. There'll be some live sessions to ensure that we're all up to speed and remain on the same page. But for now, thank you for your time. Very much appreciated. Take care.